follow the science. We're following the science. This is how we muzzle dissent and ensure population compliance. Don't get me wrong, I think following the science is fine. I just want to check before we get into it. Is the science yours or mine? There isn't one science. The science. It's not the Holy Grail. It's questioning and more questioning. It's breadcrumbs on the trail. It's research and data. It's a spark, a match that's lit. And when you close the conversation down, it's not science. It's the opposite. Semantics aside, surely we're after scientific consensus, but given your track record, it's very hard to convince us. Climate change, for example, where a consensus actually exists, you're on target consistently to have all your environmental targets missed. And when our PM met protesters, he used his infamous verbal rhetoric to dismiss their concerns and label them crusties, which doesn't seem very scientific. Were you following the science when championing fracking all those years, despite tremors felt by residents and environmental fears? Boris called fracking glorious news, that we should leave no stone unfracked until science gave us pause and Tory policy had to be backtracked. Following the science is an easy rebuff when scrutiny comes calling and you've had enough of difficult questions you'd rather eschew. Following the science is a mask. Nothing can infect you. Why was the lockdown so late? Following the science. And the delay in testing? Following the science. You see the pattern. It's an easy game. Deflection and avoidance means you never get the blame. Were you following the science when dealing out austerity? Condemning the most vulnerable to a life of crippling poverty? On the streets, homelessness up 250% does not make rational or scientific or economic sense. Don't get me started on Brexit, because the bitter truth really hurts. That was the time when Gove opined, the people of this country have had enough of experts. But we haven't, have we? All those experts, we need them now. Where the hell would we all be without their expertise or know-how? Following the science is right, but don't use it as an excuse to cover up mistakes and mishandling. That way, the whole country will lose. Experts are experts because they've done the work. They've studied hard, examined the data, a responsibility you seem to shirk. And while we're on the subject of following the science being misdirected, why is Dominic Cummings sitting on Sage? He's not a scientist. Or elected. Let's follow the science then. Let's read the evidence, because the last decade makes me doubt your ability, makes me doubt your basic competence. The Cheltenham Race Festival should never have gone ahead. The local hospital saw a massive spike, so many ill, so many dead, yet you say you followed the science, took the right measures at the right time. Your complacency in the face of science is practically a crime. Why were you talking about letting the virus run through the population, creating herd immunity? Did that come out of a Cobra meeting you missed? Or was the snake just shedding its responsibility? You've underfunded the NHS, so consequently we were unprepared. You've created a hostile environment, leaving people isolated and scared. This idea that you have science on your side, the pomposity of your hypothesis, does not come from any scientists of worth, but rather your chief advisor's officers. Eventually, this will all be over, and time will judge your science. For now, we'll clap the NHS, and for the fallen, observe a minute's silence. And to be fair, I'm not a scientist. Writing's not a science, it's an art. My deep mistrust and misgivings aren't scientific. I've just been following my heart.